Imagine losing $300 a year just because you didn't understand how Canadian banking fees work. Sounds crazy, right? But for many newcomers, this isn't just a hypothetical, it's actually a reality. Today, we're changing that. Hi everyone, I'm Reni, and in this episode of A Newcomer's Guide to Canadian Finance, we're diving deep into the Canadian banking system's hidden complexities. If you're already here in Canada, let me know, what is the most surprising fee that you have encountered during your time here? Let me know. This series is brought to you by LemFi. Remember when sending money home felt like navigating a maze? Endless fees, slow transfers, and constant stress. Meet LemFi, the app that just gets it. Sending money to Nigeria, Kenya, or any of 10 African countries is now as easy as sending a text. Zero transfer fees, transfers received in minutes, and great exchange rates. If you aren't hip to LemFi yet, I have something special for you. You'll get $10 when you send a transfer of $100 or more. Just use my code xoReni. Download LemFi today and say goodbye to money transfer headaches. You'll be happy and your family will thank you too. Thank you to LemFi for partnering with me on this video. And now let's get back into the Canadian banking system. Banking in Canada isn't just about storing money. It's actually a strategic game. So let's break down some of the fees that you may encounter as you get here. The first thing is monthly maintenance fees. Most banks here will charge you just to have an account. Crazy, right? Imagine paying $20 monthly for the privilege of using your own money. With most banks, you can expect a fee of $4 all the way up to $30 per month. There are exceptions though. You can get your fee waived if you fall into some categories. So 1, if you maintain a minimum balance, they may waive your fee. 2, if you have a student or newcomer account, they may waive your fee. And 3, if you bundle multiple services, they may also waive your fee. So if you want to get around all of this, you can look into free online-only banks or credit unions if you don't fall into any of those categories above. Another fee that you may encounter is transaction fees. So every time you tap your card, you transfer money out, or you withdraw from your bank account, you might have to pay them. Usually banks have a set number of free transactions available, but once you're done those, you will pay. So what they'll say is that, oh, Reni, you have 3 free transactions in this account. So if I take money out more than 3 times, they're gonna charge me maybe $2, maybe $3, maybe even $5 per transaction that I do above that 3 transactions. So if you're not careful, this can be like death by 1,000 cuts for your wallet. So make sure you're paying attention. These fees can go anywhere from $1 to $2 for e-transferring someone and up to $5 to withdraw cash from your account. The next category of fees is ATM fees. So if you're using your bank's ATM, this is free. You can take money out of your account at any time. But if you're using another bank's ATM, then they may charge you $3 to $5 per withdrawal. So if I bank with TD and now I'm going to RBC to take out money, they're going to charge me $3 to $5 for that transaction. And to take it a step up, there are international ATM fees, and these are even more expensive. It's one thing to take money out of a bank's ATM in Canada, but it's another thing to go abroad and take money out of there. You're going to be charged up to $10 per transaction when you take money out of a non-Canadian bank. This is not something that I would recommend that you do on a regular basis because those fees will really add up. But if you have an emergency, obviously take some money from these ATMs. Now that you know that there are a lot of fees that you need to look out for, let's talk about how you can minimize these fees as a newcomer. It all starts off with your account selection. So different accounts charge different fees. If you are a student or a newcomer, make sure you take advantage of those accounts because typically those are completely free accounts. You can also look into bundled services. And when I say that, that means if you have your mortgage, your checking account, your savings account, and a credit card with this bank, they may say, okay, you're such a loyal customer, we are gonna give you a free banking account or waive some of the fees that you would typically have. Another thing that you can look into is free digital only banks. So there are banks that have no physical location, they're online only. And I know that sounds scary, but these are some of my favorite banks because they have 0 fees as well. Some examples would be Simply Financial, Tangerine, EQ Bank, Neo Financial, Savin. There are lots of options out there. When it comes to digital banking, there are also some ways that you can save on fees. Let's start off with mobile app transfers. Typically, when you try to take money out of your savings account directly, so let's say you take your debit card, you go to the machine, and then you say, I would like to take out $100. They will typically charge you $5 because you're taking it directly out of your savings account. So my little hack to get around this would be to instead send money from your savings account directly to your checking account and take the money out of your checking account. That way you can avoid the fees that they typically charge. Another way to get around it is your credit cards. Credit cards are a great tool, and if you want a full video on credit cards and how they work in this country, leave a comment down below and we can definitely do that. But many people in Canada, me included, opt to not use their debit card at all. I never use my debit card unless the company requires me to, and I do all my transactions on my credit card instead. So how that works is I spend on my credit card always. If I go to the store, I buy on my credit card. If I buy food, it's on my credit card. If I am online shopping, it's on my credit card. And then at the end of the month, I transfer money from my checking account directly to my credit card and pay it off. The reason I don't use my debit card is because typically I would be tapping so many times in a month that maybe I would be using 20 transactions, and they would be charging me for every single transaction because I went over my limit for the month. So instead, I just do one transaction a month where I can transfer from my checking account to my credit card, because on my credit card, I can have unlimited transactions for free for a certain period of time at least. Another fee that you may encounter is fees associated with checks. So as digital savvy and advanced as banking is in this country, checks are still very much alive in Canada. Some things that you may need checks for are rent payments. Sometimes your landlord will require you to pay your rent with a check. Sometimes for official documents, you may need to submit a check. If you're doing a larger transaction like a home purchase, oftentimes they want a check. And did you know that checks actually cost money to process? So every time you deposit a check into your bank account, the bank will typically charge you $1 or $2 in order to do that. The way to get around this, unfortunately, there is no real way to get around this transaction, unfortunately. But if you can limit the amount of checks that you receive, definitely do that. So this is for you who maybe you're getting a new job and they ask you if you want payday via check or if you want it via direct deposit into your account. I would say always choose direct deposit into your account so you don't incur these check fees every single month. And also, if you, for some reason, decided that you wanted to get a booklet of checks, guess what? It also costs money to purchase those checks. I haven't done it in a while. I think the last time I did it was 2020, but I believe I paid like $30 or $40 for that booklet of checks. So it's not cheap at all. But to this day, I still haven't used them. So, okay, so now you know a bunch of different fees that you may encounter here. And the way that you can stay on top of these fees is by looking at your bank statements. I know, nobody likes to look at their bank statements, but they aren't boring. They're actually a big indicator of what your financial story is. So it's important to review your bank statements on a regular basis so that you can, one, catch potential errors, okay? There are so many mistakes that you may see, but if you never look at your banking statement, how will you ever know them? It's also important to look at your bank statements so you can track your spending and understand your money habits. The good thing about banking statements is that most are now digital and they're instant. As I mentioned earlier, looking at your banking statement allows you to see if there are any mistakes that may be on your statement. Maybe the bank charged you something that you weren't supposed to be charged, or maybe you have a transaction that you don't recognize. If you see any of this in Canada, as much as we have fees, we have a little bit of justice. So don't be afraid to push back and fight for fees to be reversed. You can definitely do this. I literally do this all the time. Anytime I see a fee that should not be there, I fight back, and 9 times out of 10, they're gonna refund me. How often do you review your banking statements? Let me know, and be honest. I know it may be weekly, it may be monthly, it may be on an annual basis, or maybe it's never. Let me know how often you are currently checking your banking statement. The good thing is, as a newcomer, the banks love you. They really want you to be a customer, so what they're gonna offer you is a free banking account for at least a year, maybe even 2 years. This is good. Take advantage of this account, but ensure that you find out when this newcomer period ends, because sometimes they increase you to the most expensive possible plan once your term is up. Banking in Canada really doesn't have to be complicated, and with the right knowledge, you can save money and set yourself up for financial success. So if you have any questions about banking in Canada, the fees that you may encounter, and any other questions about banking, please let me know by leaving a comment down below. And if you like this video, please give it a like. And if you know somebody who may benefit from watching this video, please share this video with them. I think it will help a lot of people. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to LemFi for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.